Hello, my name is Tara House. I'm the coordinator of English Learner Programs for Tahoe Truckee Unified School District. The purpose of this screencast is to provide a brief introduction to the English Language Arts English Language Development Framework for California Public Schools. The recently adopted framework has been launched, and the expectation is that we'll begin implementation this school year. This framework is intended to be useful for all teachers, not just English Language Arts teachers and English Language Development teachers. The guidelines offered in this framework are predicated on the belief that California's educational system should assist all children and youth in achieving their highest potential. All educators share in the responsibility of ensuring that every student achieves. Their curriculum should systematically and thoroughly address the acquisition and fluent application of foundational skills, the development of comprehension and academic language, and the skillful use of spoken and written English for a variety of purposes and a variety of contexts. This ELA-ELD framework provides suggestions for instructional approaches throughout, and it acknowledges that no single approach adequately serves the range of learners. Students who are motivated to engage deeply in literacy tasks are more likely to be successful in developing literacy and language at high levels. An important purpose of this framework is to outline how teachers in California can successfully implement the standards as illustrated in Figure 1.2 Circles of Implementation of ELA literacy and ELD instruction. This graphic is introduced in Chapter 1. It illustrates the goals, context, themes, standards, and how they intertwine to create a learning environment that fosters students' achievement. It also provides a visual representation of the conceptual design of the framework and is used as an ongoing organizational structure for the grade span chapters. The outer ring identifies the overarching goals of ELA literacy and ELD instruction. By the time California students complete high school, they should be ready for college, career, and civic life, have attained the capacities of literate individuals, become broadly literate, and develop the skills for living and learning in the 21st century. You'll see evidence of these broad goals woven into the framework. The white field identifies the context characteristics of high-quality instruction for all students as called for by the new California standards for ELA literacy and other content standards. High-quality instruction is identified as integrated, motivating, engaging, respectful, and intellectually challenging. The 5 overarching themes are meaning-making, language development, effective expression, content knowledge, foundational skills. These themes incorporate the strands of reading, writing, speaking, and listening in language. The grade span chapters are organized by these themes. At the center of the 2 sets of standards, the center and the core of the figure represents how ELD standards are nested within the new California standards for ELA and literacy. Both sets of standards integrate reading, writing, speaking, listening, and language development as expressed in the key themes. The standards provide year-end outcome statements for student knowledge and abilities and guide instructional planning and observation of student progress. The California ELD standards provide EL students with full access to the new California standards for ELA and literacy and other content standards. The California ELD standards define year-end expectations for student knowledge and abilities and guide instructional planning and observation of student progress. The California ELD standards ensure that EL students have full access to the new California standards for ELA literacy and other content standards. These standards are the pathway to achievement of the overarching goals. The California ELD standards were written in 2012 with the goal of providing fewer, clearer, and higher standards. That would work in tandem with the new California standards to help educators meet the dual obligation of providing meaningful access to content while helping students develop proficiency in English. The California ELD standards are derived from and intended to amplify the new California literacy standards, and therefore they emphasize the same cross-disciplinary and meaningful interactions with the complex texts and intellectually rich tasks called for in the new California standards, with one critical nuance. The California ELD standards represent California's commitment to ensuring that all EL students fully access high-quality curricula as they simultaneously maintain steady progress toward developing advanced levels of English. The California ELD standards are built upon three critical premises: using English purposefully, interacting in meaningful ways, and understanding how English works. The three English language proficiency levels, emerging, expanding, and bridging, represent three general stages of English language development and describe the knowledge about English and the skills and abilities that students develop as they gain increasing proficiency in English. These describe outcome expectations for how well students can understand and use the English language at each English language proficiency level as they continue to build on existing language skills and knowledge. The California ELD standards emphasize that ELs at all proficiency levels are capable of high-level thinking and can engage in complex, cognitively demanding social and academic activities requiring English as long as they are provided appropriate language support. The California ELA ELD framework emphasizes a model of and both for ELD. This means that in every classroom, the ELD standards are used to teach language that will ensure access to the content. This is called integrated ELD. In addition to integrated ELD, we must also provide designated ELD for our English learners. Here's an opportunity to quiz yourself on your understanding of the and both model. When and how often do we provide integrated ELD? Correct. All day, all classes, all subjects. Who is responsible for teaching integrated ELD? You guessed it, all teachers with English learners in their classrooms. And how is this going to be done? By using the California ELD standards in tandem with all content standards and a focus on the California Common Core ELA literacy standards. For designated ELD, when and how often do we provide it? This is a protected time during the regular school day, for example, 30 minutes, 5 times a week. Who's responsible for teaching designated ELD? Our ELD teachers and teachers with designated ELD classes. How is this to be done? This is done using the California ELD standards as focal standards to develop critical language that English learners need for content learning in English. Figure 2.4, Relationships and Convergences among the Practices in Science, Mathematics, and English Language Arts, shows how the structure and organization of the California ELD standards reflect integration as a fundamental concept. Part 1, Interacting in Meaningful Ways, includes sections that are inherently integrated, collaborative, interpretive, and productive, focusing first on meaning and interaction. Note that argumentation is at the center of these convergences. Throughout the chapters on content and pedagogy by grade level, you will find brief snapshots and longer vignettes. They are intended to provide glimpses of instruction in ELA literacy and ELD. These brief examples should not be viewed as prescriptive since the instruction provided in individual classrooms varies in accordance with student needs and the local context. They do, however, offer a powerful opportunity for teachers to collaborate around both ELA and ELD across the content areas. Framing questions in Figure 2.16 are important to consider when planning instruction for all students, including the additional questions when planning instruction for ELs. The framing questions require that teachers be clear about the ultimate goals of instruction, related standards, target of specific lessons, assess strengths and needs of the students, features of texts and tasks, instructional approaches, types of scaffolding, opportunities for interaction, and methods of assessment. The questions are used to plan individual lessons and units of instruction, as well as when developing semester and year-long curriculum plans. Thank you for diving into the California ELA-ELD framework. Please take time to read the full document and use these resources to ensure that we continue to improve the quality of instruction for all students.